And we'll come out. Evening, everyone. It's February 5th, 2024. I'd like to call the Safety Services and Licenses Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you please take a roll?
Councilman Ferry,
Present.
Council Vice President Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Present.
Councilman Wall,
Here.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Present.
Council President Marino. Present.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 4th and December 7th meetings?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on that.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino. Yes.
Oh. All right, next, we have public comment. I'd like to ask if there's anyone in council chambers that would like to make any public comment on any docketed items on this agenda tonight. Okay, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to make public comment on any docketed item on the agenda tonight?
There is no public comment.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to close public comment. Okay. Next, I'd like to have a motion that all matters referring to Spot Bar and Grill be moved to the March meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on that. Need a vote on that? Yes. Yeah, please take a vote on that.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino. Yes.
Okay, next we have public hearings. We have an auto repair license new for EZ Racing Technologies. Is there anyone here from EZ Racing Technologies? If so, could you please step forward, state your name and address for the record? On that microphone, press the button until you see the green light go on.
All right. Wilson Soto, 241 Cottage Street, Woonsocket, Rhode Island, 02895. Good evening, everybody. Wilson Soto.
Okay, could you please tell us a little bit about your business, what your hours are going to be, that type of thing?
It's going to pretty much be an 8 to 5 auto mechanic repair shop. Very simple mechanic, just like brakes and oil changes and stuff like that.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second. Second.
Any discussion, questions for the applicant from the committee? Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. I have a few questions for you or concerns. I do represent the area where Macklin Street is. There is a neighborhood across from where your business is going to be. I did receive some phone calls from residents in the area that were concerned, mostly because of your name. There used to be a speed shop there in the past, and the concern was loud cars racing up and down the street, doing burnouts.
No, not at all, sir. It's just a auto mechanic, and we're basically doing basically doing like oil changes and brakes and nothing like that.
Yeah, that pains me because 20-year-old me is against me asking that question to you, but
I went across the street and had coffee with the lady that lives, that she used to be a council member, because her husband and I used to be friends. Because he used to belong to the post, the VFW post that I have a Frenchy post 2396. So I had coffee with her and we just talked about Ray. So she's excited to see me.
excellent. Well, listen, I'll be in support of your application tonight.
Thank you, sir.
So if it passes, welcome to the area, welcome to the neighborhood. Any questions, reach out to me.
Thank you.
But I'm glad, I will report back to the few people that called me that it's just the name, it's not what
It's
they're
just
gonna
the
hear.
name, yeah.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Manzulli?
Yes, thank you, Councilman Ferry. I just want to be sure, you have not been open at all before right now, have you?
That's no, ma'am. There used to be a shop next door that was open, that was closed, that closed down recently.
Okay, but currently there's no one in there operating before getting the license.
No, we were working with the state to try to get the building fixed because of the fire extinguishers and stuff like that.
Okay, and that's all taken care of?
Yes, ma'am. We passed the inspection with the fire department.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes,
Council President Marino. Yes.
Okay, congratulations on getting your license, and always be a mindful neighbor to
Thank
those
you.
around you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
opportunity. Thank you.
Alrighty. Next, we have Tony's Auto Clinic. Is there anyone here from that establishment? Would you mind please stepping up to the microphone? State your name, put the microphone, state your name and address for the record, please.
Anton Kawashan, 92 Anton, Aarwasha, 92 Raymond Drive, Seekonk.
Okay, it says here that, we're still waiting for fire prevention.
There today, I got the paper.
They were there today. Okay. So you have to supply that paperwork to the clerk as soon as possible. Okay, and then, please tell us a little bit about your business.
It wasn't an auto repair business.
Please speak into the microphone.
It's on now, yeah. It wasn't on. It was an auto repair license. I already own an auto repair and auto sales and the car wash down the street. So they closed it and I'm gonna open it and run it as just a clean, simple auto repair.
It says here Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 2.
Yep.
You have plenty of parking?
A lot of fun.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve? May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any questions or discussion from the committee to the applicant? You with this gentleman? If you, ma'am, if you want to speak, you need to come to the podium. Please state your name and address.
Sorry about that. Renee Bramble, 25.
Really
Renee
common schools.
Bramble, 25 Bolton Street. I was hoping, I ran in late as fast as I could. I was hoping you could reopen.
We have.
Can I make a motion to reopen public comment?
Really common schools.
I'll make a motion to reopen public.
Second.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Any discussion on reopening public comment? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on reopening public comment.
Councilman Ferry,
No.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
No.
Councilman Wall,
No.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes,
Council President Marino. Yes.
Okay, we are opening public comment.
Thank you kindly.
Oh, no, we, I'm sorry. Motion does not pass. I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to open public comment.
Okay, I was.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't hear the vote. Was it 3-3?
Is there no tie-breaking vote? I'm a community member. I was 3 minutes late.
And we have a very long meeting with many people to address tonight. The vote was taken. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
I'm very respectfully just asking.
There's nothing I can do now. I'm sorry.
You're gonna approve a business on my corner? And two houses.
Through the chair,
one house
we
is
can't
clean?
take this down if you cannot,
Uh,
if you're not allowing her to speak.
Attorney Videcchia, could you please advise me here?
Yes, you've done everything proper. I'll defer to Steve, but it's a 3-3 vote. The motion to reopen public hearing does not carry. There is no tiebreaker. Motion doesn't carry.
Motion does not carry, Mr. Chairman. It's 3-3 on the vote. You move on.
Thank you. Ma'am, you can't just come to a meeting like this and talk openly like this. I'm sorry. There is a procedure. Hey. Please tell us a little bit about your business.
It's a simple auto repair shop. It's been there forever, that place, as an auto repair shop. I
Okay.
don't know where the problem is, but I'm just gonna reopen it and run a very nice and clean operation. Everybody knows me. I run Miracle Car Wash and auto sales. Never had an issue with anybody.
Have we taken a motion to approve this yet? So for discussion by the committee? May I have a motion to approve for discussion?
Motion approved.
Second,
Second for,
any discussion from the committee or questions for the applicant? Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you. So you're going at the corner of Bolton Street and Cranston Street
Cranston
across
Street,
from.
yeah.
So I just want to raise, that was a constituent. I represent the area and, that was Renee. She lives directly behind where your business,
Okay.
is trying to go this evening. And over the last 9 years that I've been on the council, it's been an issue with that property with, junk cars.
A lot of
along-
junk cars were there.
Junk cars along the side, a fence that was never been repaired. It's been a lot of issues. So
Did you see the property now after I painted it and put lights in it?
I've seen
Yeah.
improvements and I know you run a great ship over
Yeah.
here at Miracle Car Wash. And I have no problem supporting you. I just want to be clear that being a good neighbor, especially in that location, is very, very important.
We'll keep it nice and clean.
Especially along the side. If you got, at the end of the night, that's a big building. If you can, what cars can move, bring them in. We don't want to see cars that are getting worked on, parked on the street, because that's a tight street, Bolton Street, where the buses
Yeah,
come
very
down
tight, yeah.
and waste management to pick up the trash. So, it's very important that, you run a
Keep it
tight, run a
closed.
tight ship there. And I'm pretty sure I know you will, because you do at the car wash, but,
Okay.
I just want to stress to you that, the neighborhood's not shy about calling me and other council members. So as long as you know,
We'll keep it nice and clean.
thank you.
Council President?
Thank you. Yes, okay. I want to express, just for clarity's sake, the only reason why, that woman was not able to be heard is because the opportunity was closed, okay? We very much value, what the residents in the area communicate to us. And just as Councilman Paplaskas had mentioned, you need to operate your business in a way that is in accordance with the rules. So if I want to make it abundantly clear, if we hear from constituents that there are issues, then we have the right to bring you back before us to address those concerns. So
Okay.
I appreciate you stating tonight that you're a good neighbor, but I just want to make sure it's clear that if you're, we want that as well, and we welcome that, but if not, we will make sure that we address it.
We'll make sure everything is
Okay.
properly done.
Thanks.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Thank you. I want to have one question. Do you ever have any meeting with the neighbors before, or did you receive any complaint before you come before us?
Nope, never did.
No complaint at all? Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Manzulli?
Thank you, Councilman Ferry. While I do not have a vote tonight and could not vote earlier, I do live in the area and I am called by the same residents that I believe call Councilman Paplaskas often. And in driving by your shop, and I drove by because neighbors contacted me that, and I am told, so I'm just asking, giving, you the right to answer, that you have been operating for the last 2 weeks prior to getting your license. And that just yesterday, I don't know if there was any type of like fire inspection or anything, the open sign came down. So is that factual? Have you
This
been
place never been
operating?
operation. We haven't operated.
Please speak into the microphone. Thank
We
you.
haven't operated that business. There
So
was people painting there and stuff, that's it.
was there an open sign?
No,
You've done no work there?
no signs whatsoever. there.
No. Okay. Well, this is
That
what,
was auto sales signs on the building, I took it down. That was it. There's no open sign, nothing.
okay.
Mm.
So as Council President Marino said, if these neighbors are not shy, they call constantly. I've been told that you've been cited for having mattresses and debris there. Is that true? Have you had to have
Somebody
that?
dumped a mattress there about a month ago,
Okay,
and we cleaned it up last week.
okay. And I cannot necessarily request this, but I know that the neighbors would be happy if there was some kind of fence put up between your
There is a fence
property.
missing a piece, I will put another one.
Okay, just to make, just a barrier from
Connect,
your
yeah.
business to the residential neighborhood. And I think that if, in my opinion, if you're a good neighbor, then you won't have, then people won't call, because that's
Yeah.
generally how it works.
I understand. Yeah.
But if they call, then you can be brought back here on a show cause, and then your license could be in jeopardy, which I don't want to see that for a small business in Cranston. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions for the applicant? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Through the chair, could that motion include subject to the fire?
Yeah, I'm sorry, motion subject to the fire prevention certificate being in your hands.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Next, we have an extended hours license new for 5 Herb Pizza. Is anyone here from that establishment? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Afternoon, it's Yusuf Almo, it's my brother. Afternoon, I'm Ed Almo, 500 Dyer Avenue.
Okay, please just tell us about your business.
We actually were here not too long ago for the mechanic shop, I'm sure you guys remember us. That business has been there for, Fiver Pizza's been there for a little bit over 15 years. My dad's operated in that area for over 25 years. He passed away 2 years ago, gave the business to me and my 9 brothers, and now we've just been keeping it running. We're hoping to hopefully extend our hours on the weekends.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions for the applicants from the committee? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You're all set.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, next we have, 3 times on the agenda is Marasco's Bar and Grill. Is there anyone here from that establishment? Please step forward. State your name and address for the record.
Name is Joseph Marasco, Joseph Marasco, 103 Jacksonia Drive, North Providence.
All right, if you could explain to the committee exactly what's going on with this business.
So I'm taking over the former LA Bailey's at 1458 Park Avenue in Cranston. It's going to be a bar and grill. We're going to have food, basic pub menu. some entertainment, some music, jukebox, karaoke, an occasional band. My operating hours are gonna be 12 noon to 1 AM. We're gonna try that. We're gonna try doing lunch, and if that doesn't work, then we're gonna switch it on the weekends to just 4 in the afternoon to 1 AM. But we're gonna call last call at 12, so we get everybody out of there. The entertainment is gonna end at 12 as well, maybe even 11:30. Active member of the community, a member of the St. Mary's Peace Society. I know everybody in the area, all the bar owners that surround me. I'm friendly with everybody. And I'm just trying to generate some tax dollars for the city of Cranston and as well as myself.
Okay, before I take a vote, I noticed on here that first you have to transfer the license.
Yes.
Okay. And then you're applying for an entertainment license.
Yes.
And you are also applying for a victualling license, food license. Okay. It says here that the Rhode Island, you don't have your Rhode Island Department of Health license, the letter of good standing from the Rhode Island Division of Taxation, or an insurance certificate. So
I do have all of the above with me.
you do have all of the above, okay. I just want to just check all three places where you are on here. Okay, and then you know that the traffic engineer has made some restrictions as far as the parking?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you have all the information that you've been asked for
Yes,
to get the approval for the transfer,
correct. I've been working.
but you haven't handed it into the clerk yet?
I only have 3 more documents that I haven't handed in, that I have with me. That's the Department of Health. That's the proof of insurance, and that's also, there was one more thing that I forgot.
The letter of good standing from the
Yes,
Rhode Island
I-
Division of
I
Taxation.
have that as well.
Okay, so may I have a motion to approve the transfer of the Class BV liquor license from LA Bailey's LLC to Marasco's Bar and Grill, pending the clerk having the documents listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion or question? This is just for the transfer of the liquor license now we're talking about. It's the only thing we're voting on. Any questions or comments for the applicant? Council President?
Thank you, to the chairman, Councilman Ferry. Given that the applicant this evening says that he has the documents in his possession, and if, we take him at his word, I'd like to, have the documents presented this evening as part of the record and, given to the clerk, so, to be.
Do I need a
sure
motion for that?
existence. Yep, yep.
May I have a motion
I'll make a
to,
motion to accept the documentation from the applicant, Mr. Marasco, relative to this liquor license.
Second.
any discussion on accepting the documents? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on accepting the documents.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Reno.
Yes.
Okay, we have the documents?
Yes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, everything looks to be in order?
Yes, it's all set.
Okay, so now we have to go back and vote on transfer, which we already have a motion in a second. Madam Clerk, please take a vote on the transfer.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Okay, so the transfer has been approved. You can have a seat and we may call you up again. Thank you. Next, we have new matters before the committee. First is holiday sales license for Jerusalem Meat Market. Is there anyone here from that establishment?
Oh, boy.
May I have a motion to continue?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the continuance? No discussion. Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Okay, next we have a public entertainment license for Marasco's Bar and Grill. If you want to please step forward, I do have a question for you. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
For discussion. I'm looking at what the traffic engineer reported to us, and he says the restrictions set by the traffic engineer during outdoor events, the front 6 parking stalls to be barricaded using weighted physical barriers that shall be no less than 32 inches in height. Is that something that you've already taken care of?
No, because I haven't started outdoor entertainment because of the cold weather. I'm not sure if this is the same diagram that you guys have from the traffic engineer.
Yeah, so I just want to remind you that please do not even attempt to have an outdoor event until you,
Public safety is my biggest concern, my number one concern.
okay, thank you. Any question, oh, Councilman Paplaskas?
A lot of economic development in Ward 5 going on tonight. Sir, what are your plans for outdoor entertainment? I know it's a hopping neighborhood. We have a lot of establishments that have outdoor entertainment. Just want to kind of get the feel of what your plans are when spring and summer comes and what nights you plan on doing it and how late you think you're
So
going to go.
it's going to be on the weekends, Friday and Saturday nights, not every weekend, just maybe a couple of times a month. And of course, during the St. Mary's Feast, pretty much every night. And mostly just bands and maybe a couple of acoustic players out there. Nothing like crazy, no like heavy hip hop, none of that stuff. Well, I'm trying to attract an older clientele, 50 plus my age.
Okay.
That's my goal there.
That sounds good. I have no problem supporting it. Just for your knowledge, the nights I get the most complaints when there's outdoor entertainment is when it's on a school night towards the
Oh,
end
yeah,
of the
no.
school year.
That's not
So
gonna
if
happen.
it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, kids are trying to sleep in the neighborhood behind Marquette's.
Right, of course.
And that's my concern. But Friday, Saturday nights, I'm okay with.
Yes,
And I'll be in support of this and I wish you the best.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Okay, Madam Clerk, please take a vote on the public entertainment license for Marasco's Bar and Grill.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
And one last thing, stay right there. May I have a motion to approve the victualling license? I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt, Chair, but it just occurs to me that I think this may be unnecessary, because the committee already approved the transfer of the BV license. And as you know, you can't have a standalone, liquor license. The two go together. So when you transferred the BV, by necessity, you also transferred the victualling license, because as I said, they're not, the liquor license is not standalone. So this, in my opinion, is superfluous. I don't think it's needed.
You're all set.
Thank you.
Congratulations, good luck with your business. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, next we have a victualling license new for Ahmed Al-Sarai, DBA Sarai Oriental Suites. Would you please step forward, state your name and address for the record?
Can I speak on behalf of Imad because Imad doesn't speak English? I'm his wife.
You say your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Nada Al-Halabi, Nada Alhalabi.
Okay, could you tell us a little bit about your business and what your hours of operation will be, that type of thing?
Yeah, our business, we have a sweet oriental shop and we sell also baklava and baklava, yeah. And then I will tell you about the business hours because I'm not working in the shop. Just a minute, please. Sorry. So our business hours from Monday to Sunday and then Monday from 1 to 4:30, Tuesday 1 to 5 o'clock, Wednesday 1 to 5, Thursday 1 to 5, Friday 2:30 to 5:30, Saturday from 12:30 to 6 o'clock, Sunday from 10 to 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Councilman Paplaskas.
Man, more Ward 5 economic development. Glad we built Eachly Park. Just want to say that I'll be in support of this. Welcome to the area. I know there's been some businesses in and out of there over the years. The only concern I have is along the side of your business, on the, is it America Street, on the side street there? Sometimes parking stuff, so just be cognizant of that, but I will be in support of your application.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Congratulations and
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
Have a
We
great-
See you in our shop soon. Okay.
Okay, it's right, I live on Cranston Street.
You live. So- Most welcome. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more new matter before the committee, and that is Thai Hub located at 634 Reservoir Avenue. If anyone, okay, you are here, please state your name, address for the record. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Yes, hi, my name is Abraham Grayep. It's a Thai hub located at 634 Reservoir Avenue. So the operation is like it's Chinese, Thailand food, so it's like a buffet, you know, customer come to the store and they choose whatever they like, and we have like some chairs, and it's kind of dining room, like that dining food, like takeout. No liquor license.
What are your hours of operation?
It's 10 to 1, 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day.
May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions for the applicant or any discussion?
So,
So it's mostly a takeout place?
Yeah, it's something, I don't know if you heard about like Chinatown, or like Baja's. It's same as like operation, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, like takeout, and we don't have delivery, just takeout and like dine in, yeah.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
also, I want to say welcome to the area. And as you mentioned, is about only takeout. So do you have in the future to have like sitting,
Yeah,
like sort of buffet, and you have many options and where a client can go and pick what kind of,
no,
did
they just pick whatever they like, but they don't use it. Like they don't use like they don't get the food and put it in a plate. Like my employees who does that.
so they can
They
come
sell-
and choose what they
Yeah,
want and
they
then
choose
pack and
whatever
go?
they like, yes, correct, yeah.
Okay, all
It's
right.
like Chipotle, but that's Mexican. I mean, that's Mexican food.
Okay, thank
Same
you.
operation, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But we have around like, if it's like 26 customers, like to sit down.
Okay, thank
Mhm.
you. And good luck.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, may I have a motion to take the agenda out of order?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take a vote on taking the agenda out of order.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to address section 9, which is show cause hearings. I'm sorry, sir, you're all set. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Good luck. I'm sorry, section 9, which is show cause hearings. Now, just want to make a statement before. Okay, I want to make a statement before we start this. It is the responsibility of this committee to vote on all license applications applied for in the city. It is also our responsibility to make sure that businesses that apply for these licenses are in compliance. No one on this committee, including myself, knows everything there is to know about licenses, okay? But we do rely on the clerk's office to take the applications, and they have a checklist that has to be filled out every time a license is applied for. And some of the things on that list are certificates of good standing, Rhode Island Department of Health, tax, make sure the taxes are paid, those types of things. They have a checklist that they have to check off, and no license is ever issued unless all of those things are checked off. I'm not going to go into all of them. Okay, so before this committee, someone comes before us, we approve the license, it doesn't get issued until the clerk actually issues it. Okay. In recent months, we've had 3 special safety service meetings to provide extra opportunities for businesses to comply with the requirements. We understand it's a busy world, people get behind, things get forgotten, so we've been as lenient as we can to have extra meetings to give people the opportunity, okay? Believe me, this committee is pro-business. We want businesses to open in Cranston, okay? So it was brought to my attention about a week ago that 33 restaurants in this city were running their businesses with expired licenses. Yes, 33. Some for as many as 3 months. This, in my eyes, and hopefully in everyone's eyes, is a problem. There were several varying reasons why licenses were not issued, from taxes all the way to fire inspections. But the bottom line was there were 33 restaurants operating in the city last month that did not have licenses. Every business was reminded to renew their license. They were given the opportunity to renew their license. They had several opportunities to do so. In the event it was a tangible tax bill, the city does make payment plans, so that can be like caught up on. And the office has been very, very helpful in trying to get people done, okay? So by law, any business that's not in compliance and operating without a license can be fined up to $50 a day, which we have not done. So I want to take attendance to everyone that was called in for show cause tonight. And the reason you were called, I'm not going to go through all 33 businesses. We'd be here until midnight. But if you're present when I call your name, just please raise your hand. I need to know if you're here or not. Deli Express, doing business as Michelangelo's. Are you present? Shania Express, Indian Cuisine. Are you present? Yes. Food and Fuel, 873 Cranston Street. Are you present? Okay. Lucy Juicy, located at 2180 Broad Street. Are you present? Yes. Mario's Italian Deli, located at 164 Gansett Avenue. Are you present? Present. Poppy's Tacos, located at 690 Oakland Avenue. Are you present? Yes. Poppy's Tacos, located at 342 Budlong Road. Are you present? Yes. Protein Parlor, 330 Atwood Avenue. Present. Sophie Sweets LLC, 1458 Park Avenue. Not present. The Nutrition Station, 935 Park Avenue. Present. Summer Food LLC, DBA Tomaselli's, located at 693 Oakland Avenue. Not present. Rainbow Water, 2160 Broad Street. Not present. AFC Sushi, 550 Pontiac Avenue. Not present. Bader Market, 120 East 50 Pontiac Avenue. Not present. Best Way 4 Corporation, 1353 Park Avenue. Not present. Boulevard Pizza, 1031 Narragansett Boulevard. Not present. Dairy Twirl, 787 Reservoir Avenue. Not present. Firehouse Subs, 1000 Chapel View Boulevard. Present. Joe's Quick Marts LLC located at 473 Reservoir Avenue. Present. Joseph Pizzeria located at 1860 Broad Street. Not present. La Frontera Market, 1522 Broad Street. Not present. Cranston Little Caesars, DBA Little Caesars, 763 Reservoir Avenue. Present. Naz Halal, located at 636 Reservoir Avenue. Not present. Pinkberry, 53 Hillside Road. Present. Shorty's, 876 Atwood Avenue. Present. Aminia LLC, DBA Speedy Mart, 95 Warwick Avenue. Present. D&L Subs, 462 Cranston Street. DBA Subway. Not present. Straw in the Raw, 190 Hillside Road. Not present. Two Angels Tacos, 154 Gansett Avenue. Present. Uncle Sushi and Grill, 570 Reservoir Avenue. Not present. Vatsana Thai and Sushi, 2168 Broad Street. Present. Awa Incorporated, DBA Vivaldi's Pizza, 1826 Broad Street. Not present. The Cater Group, LLC, Best Way, 280 Atwood Avenue. Not present. Clark's Auto, located 364 Wellington Avenue. Now we're moving on from restaurants to auto repairs. Present. East Side Collision, 2050 Plainfield Pike. Not present. Going down, okay. Okay, gotcha. Madam Clerk, could you please take note that that's where the Seasons is going? The new Seasons is in that spot, so they never. Seasons is already open. Easy Glass, located at 987 Cranston Street, present. Glass America, located at 140 Comstock Parkway. Not present. Spring Green Auto Body, located at 1664 Elmwood Avenue. Present. Vang's Auto, located at 790 Park Avenue. And last is Francesca's Collections, located at 37 Hillside Road. Not present. Okay. Now, some of the licenses were issued after the show cause letter went out. Okay. And some of you are probably saying, why am I here tonight? The reason you're here is that if you were show caused, that means you operated your business for a period of time without a license. And I don't know how in the past this ever happened, or if it got let go, or people just didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but it is the responsibility of this committee to make sure that licenses are renewed, updated, and if it's a problem, the clerk is always there to resolve the problem. Payment plans can be made for taxes, and the committee wants you to have your licenses, but we can't take the responsibility that something goes wrong. I'm just going to give you an example. Does anybody remember Diffusco's Bakery? Okay. People died eating Zapelas If they didn't have a license and we knew that they didn't have a license and those people died, the city would have been responsible. We would have been on the lawsuit. So we're doing this only out of due diligence to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So please, you're not going to be called up one by one. If in fact you have not resolved your issue, if you have not resolved your issue, I'm not looking at the list of who's resolved their issue. We're asking that in 72 hours, you contact the clerk's office and you start the process to get the license in your hands, okay? After 72 hours, we are going to take the necessary steps to cease and assist your business. We have no other choice. So please, in 72 hours, make sure you contact the clerk's office to start the process to get the license back in your hands. If it's a payment plan you need to go on, the clerk will take care of that. If it's a fire inspection, we'll get it done, okay? But right now, we have the fire inspector in the building. Do you mind if I call him up to the, please state your name?
I'm an academy, I'm the captain of fire prevention. If any of it's a trouble getting in touch with our office, my personal cell phone number for work is 572-8441. I know there's a couple of them that I've been working with, and it's just, I've showed up and nobody's there. So if you need to get a hold of me, I work Tuesday through Friday, 572-8441. Again, Armin Nikat, captain of fire prevention.
Thank you very much for coming here tonight and offering that. Okay, so, Attorney Videcki, would you like to make any comment?
Just, Chairman, just to follow up, I think you stated it very well, very succinctly. The motor vehicle licenses are treated slightly differently under our code of ordinances. And for the people out there who indicated that they still have not renewed, I would simply like to point out to you that the fines and are up to $500 for every violation, and there's also a potential 6-month prison sentence. Those violations will go to the municipal court. They will not be here necessarily in front of the committee. They could take action on your license. But if you operate your repair business and you're not appropriately licensed and you have not entered into a payment plan in the clerk's office, you run the risk of being cited by the Cranston Police Department, and you will have to appear before a municipal court judge. Having said that, the Cranston Code of Ordinances at some point anticipated that delinquent taxes would be a problem for some people at some time. And what everyone needs to understand is that the fact that you owe the delinquent taxes does not necessarily mean you cannot operate your business. As long as you enter into some type of payment arrangement with the clerk's office, you will be able to operate. The only caveat is if you break the agreement, all bets are off at that point. You will receive a cease and desist letter from the Solicitor's Department telling you you cannot operate and you will be shut down, or you will run the risk of much more severe penalties. So, as the chairman stated, most of these seem to be questions of tangible taxes being owed. It's a relatively simple problem to resolve if you just go to the clerk's office. It's actually codified in Cranston's ordinances. They foresaw this type of problem. You need to take advantage of it. If you ignore it, as I said, or you don't keep your word if you or your promise if you do make an arrangement, unfortunately, you will be shut down.
Through the
Thank you,
chair,
Chairman.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify something that Solicitor Videcki has stated a couple of times. I just don't want to have confusion. Payment arrangements or anything to do with taxes that are owed, they have to contact the tax collections office. We don't do anything with payment arrangements or telling them how much they owe because there could be interest.
I understand. So, but
So
you
they need
direct
to
them where they've got to
directly
go.
to tax
Sure. Okay.
collectors.
Any payment agreement will be made with the tax office, not with the clerk's office. Okay, Madam Clerk, I'd like to continue any license that does not resolve this within the next 72 hours to next month's meeting, just in case anybody doesn't come in. Well, the other thing is we're going to serve them a letter. Correct, Attorney Videcchia? If someone did not show up tonight and they haven't renewed their license,
For all of the no-shows, yes, they will be receiving a letter informing them of the action that was taken here tonight, and also informing them that if they do not heed the directive, that they will receive, well, actually, they're probably going to receive this in the form of a cease and desist, with the caveat that they can basically remove the cease and desist as long as they comply with the committee's directive tonight, which is approach the tax department and engage or establish a payment plan.
thank you. Okay, at this time, if you were here for the show cause, you are okay to leave. Thank you very much.
From 870.
Sir, still need a victualling license. So you need to contact the clerk's office within the next 72 hours, please. Thank you very much. Okay, just give me a breather here. Okay, next on the agenda is ordinance 124-02. Ordinance and amendment of Title V of the City of Cranston Code of Ordinances entitled Businesses, Licenses and Regulations, sponsored by Councilman Ferry, Councilman Donegan, and Council President Marino. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
We'll wait for Council President to come back.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes.
While we're waiting for President Marino, just a bit of information for the committee. I have not had the opportunity to compare this with the state legislation, which seems to cover the same topic. Under Title 19 of Chapter 14, the state seems to have a very comprehensive statutory scheme which applies to this situation. They use the term small lender as opposed to short-term lender, but I think that the meaning is probably the same and that they overlap. So I would just like to point out at this juncture to the committee that there is a possibility, and I haven't looked into this enough to say one way or the other at this point, that it is possible that the state may have preempted this particular area of the law. Because as I said, there is a very detailed, comprehensive statutory scheme which seems to cover the same topics and the same material as the ordinance does. So I would just ask you to just perhaps keep that in the back of your mind as you debate this. I would, if you so desire, I will research this in much greater depth and let you know what I think as to whether or not the municipalities have the enabling legislation to enact this type of an ordinance, which may conflict with what the state already has in place.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve? Do we have a motion in a second already? Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So I'll just briefly explain to you what we're looking at for the two ordinances, okay? All right. What we're trying to establish here is that the burden to stop this short-term lending problem is fallen on the municipalities. For instance, when Socket has already passed this, Providence is in the process of passing it, Warwick is in the process of passing it. This is a bill that was introduced over 13 years ago in the Rhode Island State Legislature by my brother, Frank Ferry, okay? And it's just gotten kicked down the road and kicked down the road and kicked down the road. Now, everyone received the package that Rose sent them that sometimes the interest rates from the lenders can exceed 200% based on the fact that somebody will borrow $500. Their penalty for 1 week's interest will be $65. And then at the end of that week, if they don't pay off the $500, they add another application fee onto the process, which makes it like an $85 cost to borrow $500. And people get trapped into this revolving door and they never seem to be able to pay it off. And this has been going on for years and years. And finally, municipalities are taking it upon themselves to basically regulate. They can still charge a lot of interest. You know, we're not trying to put these people out of business. We're just trying to protect people that need these types of loans. So they can't be like excessively being taken advantage of from time to time. So I've worked on this very hard with Councilman Marino and Councilman Donegan and Attorney Angel worked with me on this. And he came up with the two ordinances, one for the license and one to regulate the interest payments. So that's basically what we're looking at right now. You're looking at two ordinances, one's for the license and one's to regulate the fees that they can charge. And Attorney Angel spent a lot of time on this, going back and forth. It's already passed in Woonsocket, something very similar. Providence, I think it's already out of committee in Providence being voted on by the full council at their next meeting. It's in process of being passed in Warwick. I'm not sure if there's any other cities and towns right now, but I know that I would like to see Cranston become one that regulates how much money people can be charged to borrow $500. It's not a, it's something that gets stuck. I had my brother started this ordinance because I had an employee that got caught into this trap one time. He borrowed $500 and it took him like 2 years to pay it off. And that's when my brother actually put this ordinance before the state, and it just keeps getting kicked down the road. Anybody else have any comment or discussion? Yeah, Councilman Campopiano.
Thank you, Chairman. Do we have any of these establishments here in Cranston right now?
I have one on Dyer Avenue in Ward 3. It's in a little plaza that's off to the side as you're going down towards Providence, across the street from what used to be the place where you pick up the wine from Anthony.
Or that place.
It's across the street. I think there's a mattress store next to it or something. It's in that. Yeah, so, I mean, basically, you know, that's where we stand with this. If anybody have any questions. No other, Councilwoman Mazzulli.
Thank you, Councilman Ferry. Can you clarify what is the maximum interest rate according to this ordinance? Is that where it's consumer short-term lenders may charge a fee of no more than 10% the amount of the loan? Or what's the interest rate? Is it the maximum 36% that's in the payday?
The interest rate we're trying to regulate to, or the interest rate they're getting charged now?
So I'm saying, are we trying to put a rate cap of, or are we just regulating the business and saying you can only give two $500 loans? Are we putting a rate cap on this for the events or no?
Attorney Angel, was it 10%?
I'm pulling, excuse me, I'm pulling up the ordinance now, Chairman. Give me a second.
In the fact sheet, it was actually a 36% cap rate.
Yeah, so that's why I'm just curious exactly what it is that if we're putting a cap on it, or if we're just now gonna be paying attention to these businesses and saying you can only do two $500 loans a year per person. Or are we capping the interest? And also, I'm very much in support of getting people out of this cycle. I think payday loans are predatory. And I will be putting in a resolution supporting the legislation from Representative Karen Elzate, who's also been part of a group of reps who's been trying to eliminate payday lending in Rhode Island. But I'm just curious what exactly we are doing here as far as the rate.
We can cap the rate, but we can't regulate their terms of business. I mean, that was, it's a consumer lending piece of, well, I should say consumer protection piece of legislation. It's not necessarily geared towards regulating, well, it certainly isn't geared toward regulating any financial institution that's federally or state chartered. Let's point that out, okay? Short-term lenders are just this side of hard money lenders to a large extent. And I'm pulling up the ordinance as we speak. For some reason, the online version isn't working, so I'm pulling it out of my files. So just bear with me. So the 10% that Councilwoman Ruzuli is referring to at the top of, I think it's paid, well, actually it's line 98. They cannot charge a fee of any more than 10% of the amount of the loan in accordance with the section of the general laws. So perhaps that's where she's looking at the 10%. The
I had
fee,
mentioned the 10%.
I beg your pardon.
Attorney Angel, I'm just trying to understand
Mhm.
exactly what we are doing with this legislation. I understand the point of it, but in reading it, I'm trying to understand if we are trying to put a cap on the interest rate, because that's what a major problem is, as Councilman Ferry, very effectively said, there's over 200%. I think it's 261%. This can go up to, depending on how long it takes you to pay off your loan. So are we doing that in this, or are we just now licensing them so that we can regulate them because now they're operating and they don't have a city license? I'm just trying to understand the summary of this bill.
Yep. First of all, we don't have a license for them. So we're creating a license in that sense. We're also creating a fee for that license, which is the other piece of legislation. What we're saying in this legislation is we're not necessarily regulating interest rates. What we're regulating is the percentage that they can take. That's what we're regulating.
The percentage the business can take, or that someone can take?
10%, 10% of the advance.
As a fee.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay, so we're not regulating the interest rate though, so we're not attempting to solve the interest rate issue. Just an additional fee?
What we're saying today, if you take a look at it, okay?
Yep, I'm looking at it.
But
right
for
now.
short-term loans between $0 and $500, consumer short-term lenders may charge a fee of no more than 10% of the amount of the loan. So no fee more than 10%. What does that mean? It could be interest, could be fees, however they want to term it. We've defined that in the definitional section of this, I believe.
Okay, so you're saying, Attorney Angel, for a loan of $500, the maximum fee, including interest, can only be $50?
Minimum payment. So if you look at, under the definitions, take a look at the definitions from line 32 to 37. That would give you some guidance. We're not capping the interest rate. We're capping the total fees that they can charge. That's what we're capping.
So like a late fee, or if they haven't paid it off by the 60
No, we're
days,
saying that they can't be paid any more than 10% of the total advance.
including an interest, or
Yep.
no?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Renzulli, one of the problems with the way they do it now is if someone doesn't pay off the loan, they start the loan all over again and charge them another registration fee. And that's what drives the interest rate up to, an absorbent amount of money. So this is going to stop that now, where they can't just keep every week adding on another 15 or 25 or 35 or $50 to renew the loan. So that we're trying to cap that. That's the whole purpose of this, is to stop them from just taking advantage of the fact. So it's going to be capped. Yeah, are they going to look at it and say they're going to make a lot less money? Yeah, but it's going to protect the people that are going in there to borrow the $500, and they're not going to be able to do it more than twice a year.
Okay,
Any other questions, comments? Okay, so let me get back here now. What? Yes.
I would just like to know, who is it exactly that's going to be responsible for this license? Who's going out and making sure that this is not happening? I don't know that we have anyone that does anything like this, so I'm just curious which department enforces this, is what I'm asking.
Attorney Videcchia? Whose responsibility would this be?
Ultimately, it's, if someone's charging, it would constitute charging a usurious rate of interest. It would have to be either a complaint would need to be received. I don't know that you can just go out there and try and make a determination if they're in compliance. I think what would have to happen is a complaint would need to come in. And then at that point, it would be up to the committee to show cause them, possibly revoke them, possibly fine them, whatever. But I think they would need to initiate it. I don't think that we can, it's not the police, I don't believe. I don't think it's code enforcement. I think we would have to see if somebody actually complained about it. It could be monitored. I don't know if there's advertising. I don't know what they do, but I think it would have to be initiated by the consumer.
So if we pass the ordinance to regulate this and the ordinance for the license, we're going to have to notify that business that they now need to have a license.
Well, presumably when they come in to get the license, that would be, it could be disclosed then. I assume they would have to come before the committee to get the license, and the committee could inform them the same way you do with all the other licenses we issue.
Okay, Council President?
Thank you. I just had a question for just the nuts and bolts, and Solicitor Verdecchia, directed towards you. So let's say this ordinance passes, or both of these ordinances passes, it requires a license for this type of business to operate in the city, which is different than before. And it will also provide these other protections in terms of the amount of the fee, as we just mentioned. My question to you is, if these ordinances pass, then practically speaking, it's an existing business. So how are we going to handle whether or not they're required to then get this license? That's my question.
Well, they may argue that they're quote unquote grandfathered, that this only applies to new applicants, but assuming they don't, and assuming that that argument is not valid, I would suggest, I heard anecdotally that there's only one business that's currently doing this. So that's a relatively small task. I think if the ordinance is passed and it is adopted, then I think a letter should go out to that business saying, this is to make you aware that on such and such a date, Committee for Safety Services passed ordinance number 1-24, which requires the following. Please be advised of these changes and adhere to them. Something along those lines, just to put them on notice. It's only one business.
And then just along those lines, then going forward, just as we would do as a committee relative to other businesses in the city that are issued licenses, if they fail to get their license or renew their license, then to your point, we would have a show cause hearing. And similarly, if there's a complaint from a constituent or something rises to the attention, then we could have a show cause hearing. Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? Questions? Okay, so the first 12402, which we have a motion and a second on, and we just had the discussion on, is like the regulatory ordinance for running that type of a business. So, Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Rito.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance passes committee. Second, we have the ordinance which requires a license to be a short-term lender, which we don't have right now. So maybe we should have voted on that first. So that's 12403, ordinance and amendment of Title 5. Do I have a motion to approve the license ordinance?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Councilwoman Manzulli.
Thank you, Councilman Ferry. I just want to make sure, at least by the next meeting, when I do have a vote on this, that there really is only one. And I'm sure that you've done your research. I'm not accusing of you of otherwise, but I know that there perhaps are other lenders who do also do payday loans and do other loans as well. So that I know Advance America pretty much only does payday loans. That's their business model, but there are other places, I believe, that may do payday loans that then would perhaps need this license. So we should just have an accurate count. Otherwise, we don't know who we're going to contact to say they have to get the license.
Yeah, the advocates for this law have already informed me that there is only one operating business in Cranston as a payday lender,
Okay,
unless another one opened up yesterday that we don't know about.
all righty then.
Any other discussion or questions about the license? Madam Clerk, please, we have a motion in a second. Madam Clerk, please take a vote on the license ordinance.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Council President Rito.
Yes.
Okay, so this will move on to council at the end of the month. Next, we have, is there anyone present from La Bandera Bistro? May I have a motion to continue that to next month?
Motion to continue.
Can I have a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on that.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Council President Rito.
Yes.
Is there anyone present from Prep Corner? Yes. Sorry you had to wait so long. Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Anthony Adagboy, and it's 2170 Broad Street in Cranston. Adagboyi.
I understand that you are filing for a transfer to buy this business.
No, we already own the business.
You already own the business.
That's correct. What we're trying to do is, we have a full liquor license right now. What we're trying to do is go to just a beer and wine license. That's all we're trying to do.
So you're trying to transfer your license from a full liquor license to just a beer and wine license?
That is correct. our clientele is mostly, people who don't consume hot liquor. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so at this time, are you operating?
Yeah, we are.
Are you serving liquor?
No, we're not.
You're not serving liquor. Okay, so Rose, Madam Clerk, this is a whole nother process where they have to file the paperwork to do the transfer for the liquor license? Or can it be just downgraded? I mean, I'm not sure. Like I said earlier today, I don't know everything about there is to know about licenses.
I have a
I'm
note
sorry.
from one of the clerks, they must have came in after I left this afternoon, that they did, bring in the application for a transfer. So this will be heard in March. Transferring from a full to a beer wine.
Okay, so you will be on the March Safety Services agenda for the transfer.
Okay.
At that time. And do they know exactly what they have to do between now and then?
I believe, I haven't seen the application that he brought in this afternoon, but, there should be a checklist of items that you needed.
That is correct.
Okay.
But when we went, the only reason I'm here is because she said come here, so I just didn't want to miss the meeting.
Attorney Videcchia? Were you listening to what we were just talking about?
I wasn't. I am completely and totally confused as to why I'm not following this. So
Okay.
it's listed as a show cause. And now we're talking about a transfer. So I'm a little confused as to what's taking place here.
So I believe, if I'm correct, they renewed their liquor license for a full when it came up to renewal on December 1st.
When you say full, a BV,
They had a full liquor license.
That's correct.
BV,
That's
this is a
Right,
restaurant,
BV.
correct?
That is
Correct.
correct.
Okay, so is that process completed, the renewal?
They never picked up their liquor license after December 1st, when it came up for renewal. It was approved, but they never picked it up.
So it had, as of today,
This is
it
why
is
it's
not
on
actually
official
renewed?
clause. It's, the committee renewed the
Subject to
application, subject
These
to.
conditions.
Correct.
Have they been fulfilled?
No, they haven't. But he's been operating just with the victualling license to serve food,
Okay,
which he's allowed.
okay.
Subsequent, I guess, to that, now he's decided to downgrade to a B limited, which is beer wine. And that's what he's saying is coming up next month. So he no longer wants the full liquor license.
Continue the show cause until he transfers.
You are absolutely correct, man.
I mean, I think it makes more sense if we keep everything on, continue this to the March hearing.
You can continue it, but there won't be anything to approve since he's filing on the March agenda. What will be on to be approved is his transfer.
But if this passes off the calendar, what happens then? He just has a whole new application pending in March? I mean, I would prefer, can we keep both on at the same time and see how this develops? Because I'm still not completely clear on this.
But it's still show cause, yes, so it needs to, we can't let it drop off.
Right. Yeah, it's still listed as show cause, so I prefer to keep it on. Let's see what happens in March and let's see where we are. I don't want to drop anything off the calendar at this point.
All right, so if he gets everything completed to do the transfer for the March meeting, we will then at that time drop this?
If everything is in order, I mean, it's listed as a show cause, so there wouldn't be anything
Okay,
at that point, I guess, to hear.
Right.
Then we would just approve the transfer. So let's keep it all together, just for clarity's sake.
just please make sure you have all your tip certifications, your liability insurance certificate, everything is done for the March meeting. So we can approve the downgraded license at that time. And then we can take this off the agenda. But if you don't have everything ready, we have to continue show causing you on the full liquor license, which you don't even want anymore.
Got it.
Okay?
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Motion to continue that?
Motion to continue.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on continuing that.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Okay, next, we don't have any report from the police department. I know this might, Armin, would you mind coming up for a second? If I wanted to ask you a question from the fire department. Have you noticed that a lot of businesses are not getting their inspections done? Or, I mean, is this something that we need to be really concerned about?
No, most of them are getting them done. It's just a matter of getting in touch with them at the same time. Like, I know there's a few of them, and I'll just use one of them, like, the glass place on Comstock Parkway. When they work, they get all set up and they go out on the road. So I show up there for a safety check, and there's nobody in the building because they already packed up their truck with all their stuff and they're putting windshields in on the road. So it's more trying to get in touch with them and be there at the same time they are, you know? So I try to leave my card, but whether they lose the card or put it aside, but there's a couple of them that it's been like that where
When it's a restaurant, like you have to check all the,
all those lights.
what about like the vent, the exhaust things and all of that? That's all part of it?
Yes, yep.
So it's important that this gets done. And if they're operating without that inspection, it could be risky.
Right, so those vents and stuff, they get inspected by another company. We just make sure that the inspection stick is up to date. The ANSEL system, which is what comes down on top of all the, if there's a fire, and make sure that that's all up to date. So when that gets inspected, there's like certain nozzles for whether it's a open fire, whether it's grease. So a sprinkler company, they go in there and they inspect that stuff quarterly. So there are a few buildings that they haven't kept up with their quarterly inspections, and I think some of that fell by the wayside during COVID. Why, I don't know. I don't know if they lost some of their inspectors during COVID. But it seems like those are starting to get caught up now, and we're getting a lot more caught up on businesses like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you. Okay, next we have license renewals before the committee. First, I don't think we can take these first three as a block. John always gives me a hard time with that. 19-hour liquor license, Initiation Greek Church. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Next is employment agency license, provisional staffing. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Next is gravel bank license, PJ Keating Company. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Council President Reno.
No.
It passed? Okay. All right, motion to take the holiday sales licenses through Twin Pine Farms as a block.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the vote on taking that block.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Can I have a motion to approve that block?
Motion to approve the block.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on approving that block.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Next, we have a per diem public entertainment license for the Initiation Greek Church. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes?
Councilman Campiano, Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President.
Next, we have used car licenses. May I have a motion to take all the licenses from Airport Radiator to Ultra Motor as a block?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on that.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Madam, may I have a motion to approve that block?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on approving that block.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Next, we have victualling license, Beans and Buns, oh, wait a minute. I can take that as a block, right? Can I have a motion to take the next three as a block?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
I have a motion to approve that block.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on approving that block.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano, Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Next, we have septic hauler license, wastewater services. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on that.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Next, we have Ocean State cesspool. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote on that.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano, Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
May I have a motion to enter the lists of monthly schedules into the record?
So moved.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a vote.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes?
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano, Councilman Paplaskas, Council
Yes.
President.
Next, just for informational purposes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mobile food establishments licenses that were renewed by the state, approved by the state. And may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, aye. Um,
For those of you on Zoom, the Finance Committee will convene in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Today is Monday, February 5th, and City Council is going to commence the Finance Committee meeting for the month of February. If the clerk can please call to order the.
Can't hear you.
minutes. Thanks. It's gotta be the mic. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna kiss it next.
Councilman Ferry,
Present.
Councilman Wall,
Here.
Councilwoman Jermaine, Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Present.
Councilman Donegan, Council Vice President Vargas, Council President Marino.
Present. Just for the record, Councilman Donegan had some family matters this evening, unexpected, and Council Vice President Vargas has some work matters that were unexpected, so I'll be filling in as chair this evening. If I could entertain a motion for me to substitute as chair this evening?
Motion to, for you to substitute.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, next this evening, we have approval of minutes. We've got the minutes of the January 8th regular meeting with finance. I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next up this evening, we have committee business matters carried over. We have with Councilman Donegan, the exploration of the liability policy for the city. I see Director Zadelis is here. Is there anything you want to mention this evening?
Madam Chair, I respectfully ask for one last final continuance. We are trying to solicit somewhat analogous to putting out a bid, 3 quotes. One of the carriers came back last week and just requested which commissions we wanted to have covered under the blanket. So we're going through all the boards and commissions. And one thing I'll just say in a general sense, any advisory commission, I'm going to recommend we do not cover under the policy because they are nothing more than advisory. Any commission with a authoritative nature, such as the Plan Commission, we are going to approve. So that's on one of the 3 that we sought. On the other one, they're just the carrier besides, just I'm going to call it an indemnification, a request to get a proposal, are asking for a couple last minute items such as employee handbooks and a few ancillary things that we can most likely get out this week. And as far as I know, I think we will have all the informational requests from the carriers done. So I will say with no uncertain terms, just from a conversation, well before the submission of the budget, most likely next month, we will have the 2 proposals and an estimated cost prior to the deliberation of the budget.
Thank you, Director Zadelis. Motion to continue this again to next month.
Motion to continue?
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next up this evening, ordinances 1223-01 and 1223-02. Those 2 ordinances are going to be continued to next month. The applicant has requested the continuance and communicated that to the administration, to the clerk, and to the sponsors. So if we can just have that continued to next month. Do we have a motion to continue?
Motion to continue?
Second.
Actually, if you can withdraw that motion for a second?
I withdraw that motion to continue.
If we can take 1223-01 and 1223-02 as a block for continuance, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay.
Moved.
Second, okay. Any discussion? There being none please take the roll on the motion to take these matters as a block.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas?
Yes.
Council President Marino?
Yes. And now a motion to continue these two matters to next month.
Motion to continue? Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry?
Yes.
Councilman Wall?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas?
Yes.
Council President Marino?
Yes. I'm going to ask for a motion to take the agenda out of order. I know one of the solicitors has another matter this evening, so if I could have a motion to take the.
Motion
agenda-
to take the agenda out of order?
Second.
Sir.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry?
Yes.
Councilman Wall?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano? Councilman Paplaskas?
Yes.
Council President Marino?
Yes. Next, we have public comment. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to be heard this evening on any docketed matters? If you're in chambers or on Zoom, please state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments limited to 4 minutes. Is there anyone in chambers that wishes to be heard this evening on any docketed matters? Okay. Is there anyone on Zoom, Tom?
Through the chair, if I can give a reminder to the public, please use the raise hand function or dial *9 if on a phone. There is no public comment.
Public comment is now closed. Next this evening, I'm going to move to advice and consent on Mayor Hopkins' appointment of Robert Ryan as fire chief. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Right. And at this time, I understand Director Moretti is ill this evening. We wish him a speedy recovery. And I understand Director Zadelis will be stepping up this evening in his place.
Madam Chair, for you, first on behalf of the mayor, I respectfully ask the council's approval of the consent and approve. Before you is Chief Ryan's resume, hopefully as a resume speaks soundly. The chief has been with the City of Cranston Fire Department in multiple capacities throughout the years, and it's the mayor's recommendation to the council that the council consider and appoint Chief Ryan as the next fire chief of the city.
Thank you, Director Zadelis. I, for one, would like to say that I'm excited and welcoming of new incoming Chief Robert Ryan in that position. I want to thank you for your years of dedication to the department and to the community as a whole. I know it's very demanding, not just for yourself, but on your family. And I'm glad to see you willing to step up to the role. And I can't express my appreciation enough. And the last thing I'll say is in any way, shape, or form that we as a council can facilitate your role as chief, please, the door is always open for us to do that together. So best of luck. Anyone else this evening? Councilman Ferry.
I'd like to congratulate you on your position. I know that you've already embraced the position, and we're glad to have you aboard. Thank you.
Okay, clerk, if you can please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry?
Yes.
Councilman Wall?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas?
Yes.
Council President Marino?
Yes. Congratulations. Yep. Yep. Hmm. Next up this evening, due to the solicitor having other engagement, we're going to hear the matter that is in executive session. On the last page of the calendar. So at this time, I understand we can't use the back conference room. We've got to keep it limited to the chambers. So if we could have Tom, well, I need a vote to go into executive session.
A motion to go into executive session. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. So Tom? No, well,
Anybody can come in. Someone's out there. I went back.
I'll entertain a motion to seal the minutes from executive session.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Perry?
Yes.
Councilman Wall?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano? Councilman Paplaskas?
Yes.
Councilman Marino?
Yes. Okay, next up, we're gonna jump to the legal expense reports under communications since Solicitor Malay, you're watching the clock.
I am. Thank you, Council
Yep.
President. Members of the committee, thank you very much. I appreciate taking out of the time. I have a daughter who is at LaSalle Academy who needs to be picked up, so I'm going to be as brief as I can, but still take care of what's before me. Council President Marino had listed a number of matters, all relating to legal, which I'll bunch together, but I'm going to answer in one fell swoop, hopefully to the satisfaction of everyone sitting here. First and foremost, a complete list of all the firms hired by the firms and lawyers that are hired is provided by my department every council meeting. It's updated on a monthly basis by Ms. Marino, who is my assistant paralegal in the law department. And as of the end of the February, the next meeting, you will get an updated copy of that. So that, I want to address that. That is the list of everything that comes through my department. Number two, resolved and pending lawsuits. That's something that I think is best addressed in executive session, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to ask finance to put together a list. It is bifurcated. Anything that obviously has already been resolved is public knowledge, and I'm happy to make that public knowledge, but anything pending is really left for executive session. So I want to put that out there. Again, number three, it goes to the same thing. I'm only aware of one matter, which I'd be happy to discuss in executive session, which addresses the number three on President Marino's questions. But again, I'd rather discuss that in executive session, whether it be at council or at the next finance meeting. And number four, I sent out an email to every department head asking for any outside legal expenses outside of the law department. Everything, mostly everything, I guess, runs through the law department here in the city and through my department, which is provided in the first question to President Marino. However, I have learned a couple of matters, and they're very minor matters, but the council president has asked for a description. I'm happy to provide it. First of all, in the tax revenue department, the city treasury, there are bills that go out to Rossi Law Office, and there's been a few bills that have gone out. They are collection matters. The city has entered into an agreement with Rossi Law Office, which collects taxes which are delinquent and owed to the city. And based on their collection of those taxes, Rossi Law is paid out of the collection. So the reality being is it doesn't cost the city anything. It's coming out of the money that is collected. Basically, to use the legal term, it's a contingency basis. But that does exist in the city treasury. In addition, there are two bond counsel firms that have done work for the city in the last year. Moses and Ryan and Partridge, Snow and Hahn. That was based on a $90.5 million bond that was issued on behalf of the city. Moses and Ryan was paid $35,000 out of that. And Partridge, Snow and Harm was paid $15,000 out of that. Again, those are fees that are paid out of the proceeds of the bond, and not out of the legal department. Mr. Gasha from the, excuse me, one second, please. Mr. Gasha from the library has indicated that his department hired and spent $787 on outside legal counsel. But it also has noted to me that he has a line item for about $4,000 for legal expenses. That's all the outstanding bills that I am aware of outside of the law department. The only other department that I have not heard from, was the police department. But I don't anticipate any other legal. I speak with Chief Winquist on a daily basis, so I don't think there's anything that's pending outside. We deal with the police department on a daily basis, and we do almost, as far as I know, all the legal work. So I'd be shocked if there was anything coming out of the police department. But I did not hear from Chief Winquist. I certainly will follow up with him and respond back if that answer changes, but I would anticipate it will not. Anyone have any questions of myself?
Thank you, Solicitor Malay. A couple of things. One is, when you go to number 3, but you said there was one case, that is, so there's one case in executive session. All I'm asking for is the number, so you answered that, and I appreciate that as one. And then the general nature of the matter, whether it's, you can personnel, or just the category, so it wouldn't require anything executive.
I'd be happy to send you an email on the cover, obviously under confidentiality, and you can share it with the members of the council of the general nature and what's pending. Understanding that it's legal, it's legally privileged at this point, but I don't want to discuss it, but it's something, quite frank, it's something that we're already aware of, everyone in here is aware of, but I just don't want to discuss the nature of it in public. That's something for executive session, but I'm
I
happy to
didn't
update.
ask for the details of it, just wanted
Of
to know
course.
that. And then the other one is, for number 2, a complete list of resolved and pending lawsuits. With all due respect, I would suggest you have maybe confer with the other counsel, Attorney Angel, Attorney Verdecchia. Pending lawsuits are not protected under executive session, is my understanding, because they are publicly filed lawsuits. So I use the term lawsuit. So even if they're resolved, they're on the court docket, it's not entitled to executive session unless we're talking about the merits of it. And that's why I'm just asking for a list. So it's just, Jane Doe versus John Smith, case number such and such, resolved or pending, period.
Happy to do that, Council President, as long as it doesn't get into the merits of what's going on with the litigation. I'm happy to give you a list.
The last thing I'll say is, while I appreciate the, the monthly list of the fees, and for the record, I think it bears repeating, I am of no relation to your assistant, Ms. Marino. But I know that we have, and it's public matter because it was a pending lawsuit. One comes to mind, and we've had this discussion before. Again, it's not confidential, is like Attorney Lepitzera had represented the city, but even in the prior fiscal year's budget, I don't recall seeing his firm on that monthly report. So, that, in addition to that, being a member of the bar myself, I know of at least one other firm that has done work for the city through your department, through claims, and yet I've never seen a bill from that office, despite our monthly reports. So that gives me concern that there are additional legal expenses that are not being captured and additional firms that we're utilizing. So maybe if we can have a further discussion as to those missing firms and in the event that there are others.
Certainly.
Okay, thanks.
Certainly. Thank you, Council President. Thank you, members of the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions? No. Thank you. All right, next we will go to real estate tax abatements. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano, Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next up, we have motor vehicle tax abatements. Do I have a
Motion
motion?
to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Nope. Go ahead, Rosalba.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next, tax interest waiver.
Motion to
approvals.
approve. Second.
Any discussion? Nope. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano, Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. And to the clerk, I don't think, we don't have any tax interest waiver denials, right? Nope.
To the chair, we skipped the resolution. Oh,
Okay, all right. So for the record, no tax interest waiver denials this evening. Then in terms of next on the agenda, we can go to the resolution. Resolution sponsored by Councilwoman Renzulli and Councilman Donegan. Given Councilman Donegan's absence, Councilwoman Renzulli, would you like to be heard?
Yes, thank you, Council President. So this resolution is pretty basic. It's to show I guess the administration said that they needed something tangible to show the support of the council for the multipurpose community learning center in order to, as part of the process that they needed to do with Rhode Island Pandemic Recovery Office. So Councilman Donegan and I sponsored it. It's just really saying that we support taking this grant of $7.2 million and building a community center. And the construction of the facility is funded by the grant in whole, and that's about it.
Any discussion from other council members?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Okay, I this evening, would just want to say I won't be in favor of this resolution, because of the lack of details. We don't have enough information right now with respect to what we're actually committing to. The application that was submitted, the details relative to the community center, I don't want to commit us to expending a certain amount of money, and then even though it's free money, it's only free money to construct. It's not free money to go forward and operate it. And we have not had any in-depth discussions as to what this is going to look like and what the costs are going to be going forward operationally. I need to be crystal clear to the public. This money is just for the build out. It is not for the day-to-day operations. So if we're going to be looking to take free money to build something, we sure as heck have to make sure we've got the money going forward in the years to come to support it. So I'm open to doing that. But without those details, I can't be in support of this tonight. My recommendation would be to continue it to next month so that we can give an opportunity for the administration to give us those details so that we could, wrap our head around what this is going to look like, what the purpose is of the facility, who's going to operate it, what the costs are going to be. That's being fiscally responsible. And that's what I would like to see happen. That's my 2 cents. Yep, Councilman Ferry.
I agree with Council President Marino. From the beginning, when this came forward 6 months ago, and it wasn't even 7.2 million at the time, it was probably only like 5 million, but it's grown because other cities and towns have not elected to take the money. My main concern then and now is still, how are we going to afford to go forth if we build this building? Where's the money going to come from to fund it? I was always in favor of it going to existing venues that already have the existing funding. So that's, you show me a detailed plan that we can afford, I'll be in favor of it. But as it sits right now, we still have never gotten the details of how we're going to afford to go forward with this once the building's built. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you, Council President. Through the chair to the administration, I know Director Moretti's not here and can probably fill us in with more details, but to Director Zellis, are you under any time constraints where you need this resolution to move forward with applications or,
Through the chair to the council, I have to apologize. I do not know, do they need this as part of the grant application? So I would assume so if they're asking for it. But I'm not privy to that specific. I cannot give you a direct answer.
I guess my next question would be, because we obviously want to vote on this as a motion to approve on the table. Would it, not knowing if this is needed because of time, would it be better to send this on to the full council? We can always continue it back to committee at the full council for the same reasons. It just would give us an opportunity to have it just in case we do need to discuss it more.
I can say for myself tonight, I'm not going to be in favor of approving it to go to the full council because the core, essential, important elements to the tunes of millions of dollars going forward is at stake, and it's not something that should be hashed out at the council meeting. It's got to be hashed out at the finance stage. There's a lot missing. And to that point, I don't want to see it die, which is why I think it would be better to continue it within finance, have that discussion, and then, if we get that information, then we can see where it goes from there. That's just me, but I'm not going to be in support of approving it for full council tonight. Anybody else wish to be heard? Councilwoman Renzulli.
Thank you. Attorney Videcchia, I'm just curious, as a resolution, this isn't, am I understanding it correctly? This is not binding us to anything. We're just saying we are in favor of building a community center. As we have all said, I too agree with Councilwoman Marino that I would like the details of how much this is going to cost. I know the topic has been brought up in which CCAP, I believe, is supposed to be administering the services that are going to take place in that building. And this is just strictly about the building. I know the two things are connected, but if they need this, as I was told and Councilman Donegan was told, they need this in order to go forward with the application. My only fear is that if we do not pass it, or at least bring it to the full council, in which maybe give the administration the opportunity to bring the things that Council President Marino expressed that we need, which I do agree that we need to know that. A building that's free is worthless to us if it's going to cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that we don't have to operate. I completely agree with that, but I don't know the answers to those questions, and the administration is not here. So if we continue this to the next month and they needed it, for something that has to happen at the end of this month and it essentially dies, I just want everyone to be comfortable with that. Like, is this saying, this is not really holding us to anything
No,
other
that's
than we
correct.
support it?
I think your basic question is, and this comes down to the difference between a resolution and an ordinance. Ordinance being a law, essentially, whereas a resolution is an expression of desire, intent, something along those lines. In very, very rare circumstances, a resolution can sometimes have the full force and effect of an ordinance, but that's under very exceptional circumstances. So to answer your question, it's not binding on anyone.
So just because it is not binding, I would say, again, I totally agree with what Council President Moreno is saying, and also with what Councilman Ferry is saying, in that I do not want I am not in support of building a free building and then spending a lot of money operating that building. I would rather just not do it at all, and they can take the $7.2 million and they can spread it out to the other communities. But if this is non-binding and just an expression of our support that they need, as grant applications often need support in order as part of their package, then I think that we might end up hurting this process if we don't at least move it forward to the council. But I don't even have a vote here tonight. I'm just the only sponsor who is present, and that's why I'm expressing my thoughts. Thank you.
A couple of things. One, Councilman Donegan did not express to me the urgency to pass this evening due to a pending deadline relative to grants. In a prior discussion with him, he was not aware of any. So that's unclear to me as to whether or not we're facing some pending deadline. Second of all, the way it reads is that we'll, commit to this. Again, I'm not going to I may not be in favor of a community center if it's not going to be able to be operated in a way that's not financially burdensome to the city. So I'm not prepared tonight to say that I'm going to support something like this. And most importantly, if the administration cannot tell the council when the deadline is for the grant application, that's on them. If it's that important and they're pending a deadline, simple email says, hey, you know what? The deadline is this. We need a resolution from the council in order to do this. Here's the deadline. If we don't have it, we can't commit. That hasn't been communicated. It's their full-time job. The finance director, not knocking Mr. Zadelis, does the best that he can with what he has. He doesn't have that information here this evening. And yet I'm supposed to commit as a council person to investing this kind of money with an unknown in an administration that can't even give me the deadline to an application. I'm going to say it once again. I am not approving this tonight to move to full council. I would not like to see this resolution die. My preference would be that it be continued 1 month, and I'm just asking if you want this to have further discussion and meet a pending deadline, I would suggest to continue this 1 month. Councilman
Well, it's
Paplaskas?
obvious, I don't have the votes tonight for the motion that I made, so I'll withdraw my motion and make a motion to continue, but I will be voting against continuing it because I feel like we're putting this in jeopardy.
Any other discussion?
Second.
Any other discussion? Councilwoman Marzulli?
I will just say once again, while I understand what you're trying to do, we've put forward ordinances, okay, that could cost, that we know will cost the city millions of dollars if they pass, perhaps, not knowing the exact amount of money the city will lose from them. And everyone was perfectly fine with putting forward those ordinances. And this is simply a resolution. So I just want to note that. And you guys can obviously do whatever you want to do, but it just seems like we're not being balanced in how we do things if that's going to be the reasoning that we use. Thank you.
I respectfully disagree with that. I'm not even sure what that is referring to exactly, but
It's
going
referring
back
to
to
tax relief.
Rosalba, to the clerk, Councilman Paplaskas, did you make a motion to continue? Because I only heard, okay, you did. All right, I just want to be clear for the record that you did. You withdrew your
I
your
seconded.
motion. I know you seconded it. I just want to be clear. Okay, all right. At this time, clerk, please take a roll on the motion to continue to next month.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No,
Council President Rito.
Yes. Next up this evening is under communications for Councilman Donegan. He has the status of the community center to be built on Duckworth Street. And I understand from the earlier discussion then Director Zadelis, you don't have that information this evening due to the unforeseen circumstances. Is that right?
Madam Council President, that's correct.
Thank you. Next, with respect to Councilman Donegan, he has possible cost and energy savings projects funded by the 2020 energy bond. Is there any information relative to that?
Madam Council President, no, that is something that has not been assigned to finance yet, so the answer is no.
All right, relative to his next item, procedures for city council on the committee obtaining a fiscal note for ordinances or resolution adoption. Have there been discussions, Solicitor Vadecchio?
As I think I indicated last meeting that we had, I don't recall which one it was, but there was a request for a fiscal note, and I had referenced the charter, and there is a procedure set out. I'm not sure exactly what Councilman Donegan was looking for, but we actually even we engaged in that procedure. There was a vote taken to request a fiscal note, and at that point in time, I believe I directed that it be forwarded to the administration, the Director of Finance. That's what the charter outlines. There's a very simple, straightforward procedure, which I think at this point should be adhered to because it simply hasn't been working out over the last several months, as we all know.
And that procedure is basically that in committee, we will ask for the fiscal note from the finance department.
What the charter says is that once an ordinance comes before a committee, which appears may have a fiscal impact upon the city, committee members at that time shall request from the Director of Finance a fiscal note. Now, it doesn't get into the nuts and bolts of how that's accomplished. Using common sense, I think it should be done by way of motion. Once it's approved, the charter then leaves it up to the committee itself to determine as to what form you want to reduce that to before sending it over to the Director of Finance. So whether it's perhaps a snippet of the transcription, or if something could be drafted. I think Attorney Angel, I don't want to step on his toes with this. Perhaps he can guide the committees as to what, maybe there's a form that he can draft, and you simply, once a vote's taken, you sign it, it's forwarded to the Director of Finance, and then he has the obligation at that point to report back to the committee. There is no time limitation on it. Let me point that out. But like everything else under the law, I would assume, considering all circumstances, that it be done within a reasonable time.
I appreciate that clarification because the notion of obtaining fiscal notes is not something that's new, something that this council body's done that predated our time here and is a normal function of government and frankly kind of common sense to have that.
True. We've gotten away from the procedure outlined in the charter. It had gotten very informal. And I think you've seen the result of that. Unfortunately, we come in here and everyone's shrugging their shoulders, wondering, did we ask for a fiscal note? Who's supposed to get it? Who's supposed to request it? I think we should get, and I think Steve Angel said this once, let's get back to basics. Let's follow the procedure outlined in the charter. This way, there are no misunderstandings.
Thanks. And Director Zadell, did you want to mention anything on that subject? Okay. All right. Next up, under
Council President, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Attorney Badecki, does that prohibit us from getting a fiscal note in a similar way that we can ask for a traffic study with the ordinance so that it's there at committee? Or no? Can we try and have it, a fiscal note with our ordinance
You mean prior to
prior?
its
Yes.
introduction?
Does that limit us?
I can
And-
just say, if that happens and it's one size fits all, that's done for everyone, not just for some.
Wondering if we are allowed to, to my understanding, before we had this whole conversation, in my head, I would think if you bring an ordinance forward that you want to be voted on and it has a significant financial impact, that how do we vote on it without having the fiscal note? But then it was said that, nope, we're going to do it in committee. We're going to ask for the fiscal note.
That's what the charter
how do
says,
we-
yes.
And that's what the charter says. So are we allowed to vote on it, to vote it out of committee without said fiscal note? Or does it sit in committee until we get the fiscal note? Because in the past, I think that has been a question, and sometimes we voted it and sometimes we didn't.
Well, the charter doesn't, the charter simply says that the ordinance cannot be adopted without the fiscal note. So I think my interpretation of that would be that perhaps you could vote it out of committee, but I don't see what the purpose of that would be, because it's probably just going to be a waste of time. I don't think that would be a good practice. The charter does not limit that to committee. It simply says, I believe the language, if I'm quoting it, says no ordinance can be adopted. So I don't think any ordinance is adopted until it's voted on by the council. But like I said, I don't think that would be a good practice.
So does that mean that we could vote it out of committee, thinking that and as long as it gets to council, full council, if there is a fiscal note there, then we can vote on it. If we take the chance that we vote it out of committee and there is no fiscal note at full council, does it go back to committee? I specifically, I remember this coming up when we voted things out of committee because that part of the charter was not specific enough, so we've done it.
To that
Well-
point, previously, we were advised by
Actually-
solicitors that come
Go ahead.
out of committee, to that point, because this issue's come up before and under our term. And we have previously been advised by solicitors in those sessions that so long as there was a fiscal note by the time the full council voted on it for adoption, that would suffice. And then it could come out of committee without the fiscal note. Now, that's what was told to us previously.
Well, there's a little room for interpretation here. The exact language says that the fiscal note shall be inserted at the end of each such ordinance or resolution prior to consideration of the council. Now, what does consideration mean? I guess you could argue it both ways. You could say, well, before it can even get to the council for consideration, the fiscal note should be attached. So that would support the argument that it shouldn't come out of committee. But then again, it could be interpreted to mean it can't be voted on. They use the word consideration. It's,
Because I honestly just don't understand how we're supposed to responsibly consider things without knowing the financial impact in committee or in full council. Because if we're talking about it in committee and we're considering it, we're having conversation going back and forth, and one of the bigger things that we need to consider is the finances, but we can't ask for a fiscal note until we get to committee, then it seems like there's like we're going backwards. Like you have to bring it forward so that you can ask for a fiscal note to, you know what I mean? It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I just don't know that how we have a practice that's consistent. So I don't want to be arguing with people on the floor, despite what you might think.
no, I think.
I
the
just
o-
want it to be
Yeah.
consistent so that we don't have to have these questions every time. And we've been doing this for years, literally having the same conversation for years.
If it appears to the committee as a whole, not to any single sponsor of an ordinance, it has to be considered by the committee, as I interpret this, as a whole. If in the committee's determination, whether it's by questioning the finance department or whomever, or department head, whatever, and it's determined that it doesn't have to be 100% certainty, may have a fiscal impact. At that point in time, right then and there, a motion should be made, seconded to request the fiscal note by the entire committee. That's how it has to work. That's what the language of the charter says. So prior to it being introduced and being brought on the floor, I don't believe that you can't have a fiscal impact. You can't consider that until it hits the floor and it's in front of the committee. I don't know if that's answering the question.
Kind of. I just mean if you're going to bring something forward, I'll just use myself as an example. If I were to bring an ordinance forward, in order to say that the ordinance was good, in my opinion, because everybody else might hate it, but if I think it's good and I want to bring it forward and it's going to have a fiscal impact, then I would have to know what that fiscal impact was in order to even have the opinion that it's good, that I want to present it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't think so. I think
Yeah.
the way it's worded is, again, you have to use reason here. If it's gonna have a $5 impact, I mean, I'm talking about, you don't need exact figures. That's not the way this is worded. It just simply says a fiscal impact. So, again, you have to use some standard of reasonableness here. If it's a relatively minor expenditure, I don't think this would apply. And you don't have to have an exact figure. I think you'll know if something's gonna, you should know a range, put it that way, a range, of course. That's all this is asking for. And that would suffice. So, again, I don't know if that answers the question, but you can't have exactitude before, or else no ordinance would ever get passed. I mean, how could you? You'd have to have although there is an exception here. It says you can, if you could somehow get an exact figure, then you do not have to attach a fiscal note according to the way this is written. You would simply appropriate, if you can appropriate a sum of money because you have a sum certain, then you don't need a fiscal note. That's the way I read this too, just to make things more confusing. But that's never been the case. Right, if it's something like that, yeah. Right, so
where do we end at? If you
Yep.
have some kind of fiscal
impact.
impact, almost like the traffic study. You ask for a traffic study. If the traffic engineer does it in time for your ordinance, you can vote on it that day. If he doesn't, then we continue it. We don't vote on it.
Right.
So if you can, does it behoove us to try and get it in advance or just don't even bother? Bring your ordinance forward, take a vote, ask, and assume that it's gonna take at least 2 times to have a.
That's the procedure.
I'm just gonna say one last thing then, Councilman Paplaskas. We don't want to inundate the finance department. Let's say we have an ordinance and we're going to introduce this new business on the full, council that then gets referred to committee. To me, that's not the intent of the charter and the ordinances, and nor does it seem to make common sense that every ordinance that we introduce as new business, that before we do that, we're going to bother the finance department, which we can't directly influence. We have to go through the administration to ask them to do that. That would make them unnecessarily burdened. The part of committee is to introduce it so that there is discussion, and that's part of the process. But I take it to the legal department to work that out. Councilman Paplaskas.
Great points by everybody here tonight. My 2 cents is I think the spirit of the charter is to get a fiscal note in the committee process before it gets kicked out. If we want to, hold ourselves to a higher standard, we can make a council rule that says you need to get the fiscal note. You could always make a motion on the floor to suspend rule, whatever it is, 34, I'm looking up a number, and then you could pass it anyways against that. But I really think that, like we just said, the last thing we considered, we do our best business here in committee. The full council isn't really a place to be going back and forth about a fiscal note. And then I've seen ordinances come with the fiscal note prior, but most of the time they don't. We're relying on the finance department, so that's all I got.
And if I just may, Madam Chair, I was just talking to Attorney Badecchia. In terms of an ordinance getting to committee, the ordinance is recommended to the full council and then subsequently referred to committee. Is that the normal business process? And what I just said is, one of the things we're talking about is adhering to what the ordinance say about requesting information, and if, as an example, whether it be a tax stabilization or a fiscal note on the operation of a community center. As an example, upon introduction to the council, and which committee it's going to, that's when the request could be made. And just one thing to Attorney Badecchia, I think the request was made, that request through the administration to have that was what was, I believe, expressed. So at the introduction of an ordinance, excuse me, that would have a fiscal impact, the ordinance is being directed to the finance department. Just one man's simple, process is that's when upon introduction from any counselor, that request would get redirected down to me. And it's incumbent on me, if we have the information, to get the fiscal note to the respective subcommittee of council. So I don't know if that is a logical process, but that's, if I may just offer that as a solution.
Thank you, Director Zadelis. Relative to Councilman Donegan's matters, since he was not here, I'm going to ask that they all get continued to next month, Rosalba's, next month's Finance Committee. And then, Director Zadelis, just the status of the audit. Yep, just the audit status. Councilman Donegan had on there the status of the audit, and I know myself, and I'm sure others are intrigued as to where it stands. Yep, that's okay.
I apologize, Madam Council President. In terms of the output or the end product, there are 2 things that are going to be forthcoming. One is the annual comprehensive financial report, Number two is what I will refer, I think I'm dating myself, is what's called the single audit. So whenever you see any correspondence going back, if it says CFR, that's the single audit that has the March deadline. In terms of the annual comprehensive financial report, there are two things from me that have been furnished to the auditors. One is just a statement on, I think it's GASB 56, us being a going concern that says the results of, our financial activity for FY '23 provide no concerns to me, in like any business, we're going to be a going concern. The second part is, if you're familiar with the audit, the transmittal letter that says as of, June, I'm sorry, it's going to be February of 2024, to the mayor and the council, here's the audit. So in terms of those pieces, the auditors have it for the annual comprehensive financial report. Now, the next part, the actual draft financial statements have gone through the partners' review. They're going to be sending us the draft financials. From that, we in finance, primarily the controller's office, will compile what's called the management discussion and analysis based on those. That will be sent back to Markham to be included in the annual comprehensive financial report, that in the statistical section. Assuming all the items in the partners review are fine, we don't have to change anything. That in turn, once we get the MD&A, which is based on their financials that they're going to furnish us this week, then it will go out to, my understanding is their internal procedure. They'll send it out to a review committee in Markham. So that's where we are, the financial report. Relative to what I'll call the single audit, which is the grants, and I'll just, throw it. One of a couple of things that we went back and forth on, they were questioning a couple of, the description on what's called the CFR, which is the schedule. And one thing they hit me with, and I'm just going to throw it out there. They asked one question, did I include matter of fact, there were two items. One was the grant. I believe it's the take it out to lunch, which I have to follow up on because is that federal money? And I didn't include it. Honestly, I didn't know we got a grant in. So, that's on me. Take it outside. Oh, no, out to lunch is the second floor of this building. And then if I may, the second one, the opioid settlement. They wanted to know if I had that, and my response back to them is no, it has never been part of ours. It's a settlement. So that's the second part, the single audit, where we are. Just an update of where we are.
Okay, so I know that the firm Markham sent out an update as of Saturday to Councilman Donegan, myself and the minority leader, relative to what's outstanding. And you addressed some of that tonight, the CFA dealing with that categorization. Has that information been correctly provided to them? Just going to take it one by one. Yeah.
Madam Chairman, 1A through C was an email on a CFA that I received Wednesday. Saturday morning, they got it. That was on a separate email chain. Then we go to, I don't remember what D.
I can bring it. Yep.
Yeah, no. And let me just tell you, I can send out the response. They were all responded to Saturday morning. And I can, typically when I'm a kind of person that just, instead of reply all, I hit reply. So I'd be more than happy to share the information that went out to the auditors Saturday. answer your question, yes, those have been responded to.
Okay. And their last three questions in addition to the documents, that those have been addressed as well?
Council President, yes, I believe, and I'm doing this from memory, yes, every one of the items on their email have been addressed. And if you notice on the bottom, it speaks to the MD&A once they get the schedules out to us. So the cover letter, which is the first item in the annual comprehensive financial report, as a matter of fact, I sent them a signed copy. They asked for it electronically, so they can just copy it into that. That was sent out today. The going concern letter, you know, the CFR has a different deadline, so those CFR questions are gonna get responded to, which is, you know, there's only one left, which is take it outside, that may have to amend my CFR that I gave them.
All right. And so do you believe you're on track then relative to the current extension, or which I believe is ending at the end of this month? Or do you predict or
In-
foresee an additional?
Right
extension?
now, I will qualify this. I'd like to see what their draft schedules. They said early this week, so today or tomorrow. As far as there's nothing there, I think we are potentially on schedule.
So it's basically only if they come back to you saying they need more information.
Madam Council President, that would be yes, my answer.
Right. Anyone have any questions? The director relative to the audit status? No? Okay. All right. Thank you, Director Zadelis.
What?
Motion to adjourn?
Second? All right. No discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no one opposed. Good evening.